Have you been working your literal butt off trying to grow a booty for the longest time, but no matter how hard you work, you're not seeing any results? I got you. Today, I'm going to give you the 5 fundamentals that are going to cut your learning curve in half. The fundamentals that actually got me to grow my booty effectively, including the #1 mistake most women are making that are preventing them from seeing results. So let's get into it. This video is a part of my fitness must-do series, my fitness non-negotiables. So be sure you are subscribed to the channel and turn your notifications on. This way you don't miss another video. The timestamps are listed below, so be sure to save this video as a resource and you can come back to it and skip around as you like. Getting into it, I want you to drop the mindset of, if I just work a little harder,
if I just do more, if I just add these trending moves I saw online, I'm gonna grow a booty.
That's not gonna work. How I actually want you to start thinking is, if I do the right workouts for me, if I train intentionally, effectively, and consistently, if I work smarter, not harder, and I dial my nutrition in, I'm gonna grow my booty. Keeping that in mind, let's get into point #1. And this is, of course, glute anatomy. We need to know what muscles are actually in the glute. Muscle #1 is the gluteus maximus. This is the biggest muscle of the entire butt. This is in charge of your size and power. The second is the glute medius. So this is a smaller muscle like that glute shelf. This is for the shape of your hips and hip stability. And the tiniest muscle is the glute min. This is for balance and control. We need to use all of these muscle groups every time we train glutes. If you're missing 1 or 2 of these, that could be the reason why your glutes aren't growing. Point #2, and this is the reason why 90% of women are not growing their glutes. So let's address this elephant in the room. Glute activation. Most people in this world, all the people that I see, even including myself at one point, could not activate my glutes properly. So when I would go to do the hip thrusts, the Bulgarian split squats, the squats, I wouldn't even feel my glutes. What would really happen is my quads and my hamstrings would always take over because my glute medius would not turn on. This could happen for a lot of reasons. A lot of the time people work, they sit at a desk, so that muscle just is not being used. They drive a lot, or they just never learned how to turn it on. So even if they have been working out a very long time, they're not getting the most bang for their buck. So I have a picture here of when I was super shredded. I just got off of competing. Little nice rounded glutes, but not like a big juicy butt. Even going back into gaining weight and being at a healthier weight, doing the hip thrusts and stuff, I would have to stop at maybe 1 plate on each side because again, my quads would take over. Really frustrating, really annoying. The way I finally fixed it was through this routine. First things first, our hips are super tight, so we need to be using a Theragun. If you don't have one, you need to be foam rolling. So what I do is I get in a plank position with my leg out to the side. I roll up and down on that hip flexor until it feels better, and then I'll stick my outer leg out and turn my body and roll the outside of my hips. Once that feels good, I go right into a couch stretch. So I'm elevating that back foot. I am deeply lunging, feeling it in my quad and hip flexor. And for an even greater stretch, I'll take that hand on that side and stretch that overhead. From here, I do some butterflies for those inner hips, and then I go right into 90-90s. So I let my legs fall to the side, flex my feet, and from there, I just roll off of my heels and land on the other side, trying to keep my butt on the floor. If I can't keep my butt on the floor, that's okay. Eventually, I'll be able to the more that I do it. From here, I want to thrust my hips. So it's like you're doing the hip thrust from this position 10 times on each side. I am going to have the reps and the sets in the description below, but this is going to fire up your glute medius as well. And from here, we're going to do 3 versions of a clamshell. First version is just regular with a 5-second pause at the top, firing up the glute medius and the core. And once we complete with a pause on each side for 10 reps, we then do it again with a band. With the band, you can continue the 5-second pause, or you can pick up the tempo a little bit. But again, you're going to do 10 on each side, really burning that glute medius. And then the last version is the clamshell, but with your leg out to the side, and on the way down, you're squatting. So you can see my hips kind of hinge back on the way down, just like that. Once we get this down pat, another variation would just be to stay in this side plank position for as long as you can. Your butt will be on literal fire. From here, we want to do bandit squats, 5 seconds down, 5 seconds hold, and 5 seconds up, pushing your knees out the whole time and making sure you're feeling it only in your glutes. If you're still feeling quads and hamstrings, you're not ready for that yet. And lastly, you're going to just do some glute bridges with the band, 5-second squeeze at the top. And then this is where you could start adding dumbbells and kind of progressive overloading, maybe 4 to 5 sets of 20, really feeling that burn. And until you master this, triceps, only feeling it in your glutes, can you do the big boy moves? Now that we got the anatomy down, now that we know how important it is to address imbalances or lack of activation, let's get into point number 3, which is actually structuring your glute workout in the most effective way every single time. The first thing, of course, you would do is that glute activation protocol. Now, obviously, once you get the hang of it and your glutes are super activated, you don't have to spend as much time on it. So you can just do your dynamic warm-up. Glute activation / dynamic warm-up, it's kind of all the same, but you want to have some kind of warm-up in place that's getting your blood flowing, getting you stretched out, and getting you prepped and primed for your lifts. Then comes a core activation. So anything that's going to get the core fired up as well, thing like bird dogs, dead bugs. Next comes your compound movements. So these are the movements that are the hardest. You're using multiple muscle groups to carry out these movements. They take the most energy. So you want to do them first while you're freshly warmed up. These are going to be like your RDLs, your hip thrusts, your squats, things that you want to really load the barbell up or load the machine up. Your sets and reps could be anything like 4 sets of 6 to 15, depending on your goals, your level of experience, or where you're at in your split. Directly after this, you can throw in a unilateral movement. What that means is just like a one-legged movement. Step ups, split squats, reverse lunges. These would be anywhere between 3 sets of 8 to 10 because they're a little bit harder. Sometimes you don't need 4. And right after this would come your accessories. And this is where you can perform supersets. So these are the movements that don't take as much energy. They're still hard, but maybe they isolate your medius or your min a little bit better. They are higher reps, less weight. So you can do 2 of them back to back without any rest, which is going to cause you to work harder, burn more calories, and see more muscle growth. So for example, any machine work, hamstring curls, hip abductions, kickbacks, things like that. And then your very last move, if you have energy, would be some kind of a burnout. So you could do those frog pumps or anything to really get your glutes totally on fire. So this would be anywhere between like 3 to 4 sets of 15 to 20 just to get that burn. Now that you have the structure down of what workouts to do and when, we have to keep in mind we need to incorporate all muscle groups and all planes of motion. So what do I mean by this? First, we need horizontal hip extension. Think hip thrust, glute bridge. These are the best ones for that. You also need vertical hip extension. So squats, split squats, step ups, deadlifts. Lastly, you need side to side movement, abduction, adduction, again, with all 3 muscle groups. So with that glute maximus, that medius muscle, and then that glute min, that smallest, tiniest muscle. Okay, so now we have the mindset. We have the anatomy down. We have the awareness of glute activation and fixing imbalances. Now we have the awareness of a structure, including all 3 muscles and including all the planes of motion. We're gonna go into point number 4, my structure, how I would do a glute workout. Let's pretend I already did my mobility stuff and now I'm warming up my core and I'm doing a bird dog. I love this move. It's a lot harder than it looks. You want to be in a tabletop position, opposite hand and opposite leg out, slowly meeting that elbow to the knee and back out, making sure your hips and shoulders are nice and square, and if they're not, correcting it each time. Honestly, my core is on fire every time, but you want to do 3 sets of 10 on each side. Now I'm going to be warming up my hip thrusts. You want to find a bench or a square of some sort just with the barbell. Sometimes I struggle at the top to find my balance. You also really want to make sure that your knees and your toes are all aligned properly. Once I have a good warm-up round, I am going to start with 1 plate on each side. Let's say this is about 4 rounds of 10. I can then add more plates and remove the reps until I get to a very high weight, which I wasn't able to film on this particular video, but that's exactly how you want to do it. You want a 3-2-1 tempo, so coming up, squeezing for at least 2, coming down 1, 2, 3. My second compound lift is the RDL, my absolute favorite. I have a huge in-depth breakdown of form on this particular move in my other video that I'll link below, but essentially I'm pushing those hips back, going down, squeezing my glutes and standing. From here, I want to do a unilateral movement. So this is going to be a reverse lunge. I'm so sorry I didn't get the right angle on that. That's one option. And if I don't do a reverse lunge, I'm going to do a step up, which to me is a big bigger range of motion if you're taking a higher step, but both target primarily the glutes, and you're also getting that balance and stability. So making sure you're hinging no matter which one you choose. The third variation, I think this one is the hardest, is the Bulgarian split squat, because that back leg is elevated, but you want to put the pressure in the middle of your feet and you'll feel it in your glutes. Next comes my superset. I'm going to be doing cable hip abductions. I'm going to show you 2 ways you could do it right now. So here I take a moderate weight, sit up nice and tall and push out. That's going to hit that glute medius. Now if I bend over, increase the weight, change my foot position and push out to the side, I'm hitting more max. This you can go super heavy. So you can superset the both, pick one of them, either or. But I'm going to go ahead and superset this with a kickback today. I'm going to show you 3 different kinds. So this is the glute max kickback. As you can see, I'm straight out with a slight bend in my knee. The glute min, I'm going to change my foot position and then I'm going to kick it out to the side like a circle, leading with my toe. That's going to hit that knee muscle. And maybe I want to work my mid instead. I'm just going to then go straight out to the side. So you have all 3 as an option. You can do all 3. It really just depends which muscle you're trying to work the most. The very last point 5 is nutrition. When I grew my booty, nutrition was huge. I really didn't want to gain too much weight and get fat, but I knew I needed enough fuel to actually build the muscles that I wanted to build. So the biggest rule of thumb is finding out what your maintenance calories are. You can either follow your maintenance calories, eat very high protein, have enough carbohydrates and good fats. Glute growth specifically, you either want to eat at a maintenance level or a slight surplus. So a 250 calorie surplus. That way you gain a half a pound a week. And you don't have to go crazy. Maybe you only want to gain 3 to 5 pounds, and you can't be afraid that you're going to get fat or you're going to get bulky, because you're using this fuel to actually grow your muscles. You're going to work out in a progressively overloaded fashion week by week. You're tracking that. You're tracking your food simultaneously. And once you feel like you finally grew your glutes in a way that you like, you can always go on a mini cut. It's not like a forever thing. So carbohydrates, don't be afraid of them. Not only do carbohydrates give you the glycogen and the energy to complete the workouts, but they also aid in recovery. On my glute days, I would eat more carbohydrates and a little bit less fats and keep the protein the same. And let's say maybe I was doing an upper day that didn't take a lot of energy, I would lower my carbs a little bit and up my fats. If you want to get very specific, watch my carb cycling video. You can utilize this while growing your booty if you want to stay snatched and intentionally grow the booty. So that about sums up the video. If you had any aha moments or anything stood out to you specifically, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Can't wait to see you in the next one.